What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And of course, I got some new news concerning Joe the Juggernaut Joyce. He has decided to take on, guess who? Bermane Stiverne. You guys remember Stirverne, huh? Mr. Old Meme King. He was knocked out in seconds by Deontay Wilder the last time we saw him. Now, I look at that, and the thing that sticks out like the sore thumb about Joe Joyce is, what was the last fighter that you called out? I mean, you specifically called out. Luis King Kong Ortiz. Not saying this is not a good fight for Joe Joyce, but you go from calling out Luis Ortiz to Bermane Stiverne. Okay? It's like comparing a watermelon to a grape, or at least an orange. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I don't know how you ended up there. You know what I mean? Hey, I want to live in New York, then you end up living in Wichita, Kansas. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where your expectancy level was supposed to rise after you made your debut in America on the undercard of Wilder Fury. So, but again, maybe they wanted to build the Ortiz fight to build or whatnot, but this is all I see, man. Every time someone mentions Ortiz's name, and then Ortiz responds, mind you, you don't never hear anything else. Then it's I'm fighting another fighter over here. I'm fighting, I'm fighting Jasora again, or I'm fighting Bermane Stiverne, or I'm fighting, or you just don't hear anything. You just see what the action is, okay? You just see what they do as a result of how one man responds to a call out. That man calls your bluff. That 80,000-year-old man, or whatever people say he is, whenever he responds, you never hear anything back at all. And I know a lot of people, they're like, oh man, you're always talking about Ortiz. I'm not talking about Ortiz. I'm talking about people talking about Ortiz. That's the difference. See, you don't claim to want to fight a guy, and then when you fight a guy, or when that particular guy that you claim that you want to fight responds and says, "Sure, I'll fight you. You're gonna lose your O though." Then you don't hear anything else. You don't hear, "Oh, okay, hey, I'll accept the challenges. I'll accept the term." You don't hear anything else. And Joe Joyce went quiet for a long time. Then all of a sudden, this fight pops out of nowhere. And he's going to be on the undercard of the Gale Eubank Jr. fight. So I'm like, okay, it's being hyped up. It's a good, co-main feature. Sure, that's awesome. But then why wouldn't this Ortiz? You know what I mean? So that's what I'm dying to hear about that. But anyway, you know what? Let me make one last point about that. People talk about Deontay Wilder here, Deontay Wilder there. But one thing this man did is he fought the guy that nobody else wanted to fight. He did that. So if anyone knows that he was the only one that took that chance and actually prevailed, they should know. Like Dillian White should be a prime example. Of course, he wants the Joshua fight and all this. I'll talk about that in another video. But then it's like, when you talk about fighting Luis Ortiz, oh, he's nowhere to be found. These people need to understand, these fighters. You have to fight the fights sometimes that you don't want to fight to prove that either to discredit or to compare yourself with someone else that already has, if that makes sense. So if Deontay Wilder had a hard time with Luis Ortiz, okay, and then he hasn't lost since then. He's like 3-0 since that fight. because I know he's fought twice, and he's knocked out 2 of his opponents since then. Okay, well, you know, they looked okay, but still, that's the one thing that Deontay Wilder can always say, hey, I fought someone that did not want to fight. Until someone else does, you know, you can't shut him up. Shut this guy up and fight this particular Cuban fighter, you know. But back to Joe Joyce, he's 7-0. He's a great prospect. I think he's 5th in the WBA, you know. And I don't know what he will accomplish by fighting Bermane Stiverne. I guess to stay busy fight, you know what I mean? To make his resume a little better than it was before, you know, to get another notch on his belt. Now, Bermane Stiverne, on the other hand, if he beats Joe Joyce, he can become someone like Derek Chisora, right? The guy that was expected to fail but didn't. So, you know, there's a lot of possibilities with that. But no, I mean, it doesn't really benefit Joe Joyce with this fight. I'm glad to see him back in the ring, of course, because I think he's an entertaining fighter. You know what I mean? Has a good, you know, head on his shoulders. But fighting Bermane Stiverne, I mean, I wouldn't agree with that, but it is what it is, you know, and it's on pay-per-view, so they're marketing him to be a pay-per-view star, you know. So, you know, we just got to see what happens in the fight. Of course, I would love to see the build-up. You know, I want to see him answer that question on what happened to the Ortiz fight. You know what I mean? I know Ortiz is fighting another fighter or whatnot, but this was way before those negotiations, so stop. You know what I mean? You know, so that was a long time ago. That was back in early December. It's almost February now, right? But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Joe the Juggernaut Joyce versus Bermane Stiverne. Okay? Of course, please subscribe and leave your comments below. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.